everyone. Welcome to the Golden Ratio Podcast. I am Jen, GR Mom, joined as always by GR Dad.
Hi.
Nice to be in the same room with you, GR Dad.
It is great. It is unbelievably better than to not.
It has been a very long time.
It's been ridiculous.
I'm glad you're back.
Me too.
We're going to be together for a solid 10 days before I take off to run an ultra marathon. But even that'll be like, there won't actually be a whole day that we don't see each other. So it's going to be okay.
Yeah, that's more like old school.
Yeah.
It was the weeks long absences that kind of were sucky.
That was too much.
Uh-huh.
The cocktail of the week this week is the Ward 8. This is a pretty classic cocktail. It is whiskey, lemon juice, orange juice, simple syrup with a little bit of grenadine. Would you like to know the history of the Ward 8?
Yeah.
The Ward 8 was named after Ward 8, a voting district of Boston, notorious for political corruption, relevant to some personal ongoings that we're not going to discuss on the pod.
Wait, what now?
Apparently just for me.
Okay.
Yeah, it first appeared in a cocktail book in 1913.
Nice.
The cocktail book, a sideboard manual for gentlemen. And then it was also in the 1922 book, Cocktails, How to Mix Them.
Interesting.
So there you go.
I would have thought it was New Orleans. Don't they have wards there too?
Yeah.
Is that
the lower ninth ward?
Right? Yeah.
But they also have them in D.C. Oh, don't unplug it, Nacho. No. Okay.
They do have wards, yeah.
Let's move on to Administrative Corner.
I love Administrative Corner. You thought you'd get away with that? I cannot let you.
We sold a Operation Nacho Run shower curtain from the Redbubble store.
I'm not going to say it was me or it was not me, but it was
not you.
It was not me.
That was Teen from the Herd, ordered a shower curtain. Now, she could have shipped it to us. I don't know what its destination was. I just know one has been ordered.
The website is registering one is sold.
Hilarious.
I mean, I think people are missing on the opportunity to get a brown shower curtain. What's wrong with a brown shower curtain? Actually, is it clear with just the flag, or is it
white?
Brown?
It's white with like the treasure map on it.
But it's not see-through.
A lot of brown on there, though. Yeah. Also, thank you to everybody. Sorry, we got a little bit of nacho-oriented chaos going on in the background. Thank you to everybody who donated to the Golden Ratio Foundation to support Nacho. He is our first dog that the foundation has taken in. And I just went in and checked the finances, and a bunch of donations came in during Operation Nacho Run. So thanks, everybody.
Also, thanks for people who sent little toys like this squeaky little number here and other knickknacks and things in the last few days.
So let's get to dog updates.
Sure. That's Guac. There's the update.
I gotta say, before Nacho arrived, I was like, I bet Nacho and Remy are going to be BFFs.
You were spot on after a day.
They're literally throwing themselves at each other and breathing heavily into the air with angry faces in the vague vicinity of each other.
There's a lot of
right
air
now.
chomping, too, which is great to see. Yeah.
They are having a great time.
And Guac is just grumpy because he's not involved and there's no ball.
I gotta say, I think Nacho may be better at the butt attack than Vink, the originator of the butt attack.
Well, Nacho has no health problems. It just throws his body around heedless.
Nacho throws his butt into Remy's face and then throws his entire body on top of Remy and then rolls over him. He doesn't care if he falls off the bed or the couch or whatever.
He's got strong puppy energy.
Yeah. So let's talk about Nacho and Operation Nacho Run.
I don't know if people are that interested in it. I mean, maybe we should start with some other dog. Go ahead.
So Nacho began his journey last week on Wednesday from Idaho, where he was taken in by Teen and the Herd, and made his way to us across 5 days. So he was given up by his previous owners because he needs knee surgery. He also has serious allergies. I think that's it. Was there another problem?
No, I mean ear infection.
Oh,
but
and he had
that's
an ear
very,
infection, yeah.
very temporary.
Yeah. So I'm leaving it all in because it's what the house.
It's on brand.
What the house is like now. So Teen from the Herd drove Nacho from Pocatello, Idaho to Salt Lake City. It's about a 3-hour drive.
The Pocatella is a part of the knee.
Oh, no, that's incorrect. I thought you had a fact for me there, but you don't.
I just have a misspoken word.
So she left at like 5 in the morning on Wednesday to get Nacho to Salt Lake City at 8 a.m. His ride from Salt Lake to Denver was actually a friend of the squad who lived in Denver. So the previous day she drove from Denver to Salt Lake, stayed overnight, and then left with Nacho that morning.
As someone who drives a lot, that's a lot of driving.
It sure is. So she brought Nacho to Denver. He stayed overnight with someone else in Denver. And then the next morning... Hang on, we're going to take a minute here.
It's like before we had Nacho.
We've reduced the chaos a little bit. So yeah, Nacho went Salt Lake City to Denver on the first day, stayed overnight in Denver. And then another friend of the squad picked him up in Denver. She was from Kansas City, so she drove to Denver and stayed overnight, and then drove Denver to Kansas City, where another friend of the squad kept him overnight.
Man, these are long trips.
Fifth friend of the squad drove him from Kansas City to Memphis, where he met up with another friend of the squad.
Yes, this is the one I met.
Yes. So this is
Rachel.
She kept him overnight in Memphis and then also did the driving to Atlanta the next day. I want to say, in terms of cocktail of the week, she sent us people sent a bunch of stuff with Nacho, which we'll talk about, but she also sent us 2 bottles of liquor made in Memphis, 1 bottle of vodka and 1 bottle of gin. And I got to say, I opened it. We appreciate all local liquor, but the quality, let's be honest, is mixed of local liquor.
We've had some like locally brewed whiskeys that need work.
They're not the best.
They're not there yet. Yeah.
So I was like, I wonder how these are going to be. And so I popped open the vodka and I took a little sip of it and I braced myself and I was like, fuck, this is amazing. This is so good. And the same thing with the gin. And both bottles have a chicken on them.
Because we've had bad vodka and we've especially had some bad gin.
Oh, so
locally,
much bad gin.
There's some DC startups that are very creative but not very discerning.
Oh, my God.
And these have chickens on them.
Yeah, so the brand is Old Dominic, Memphis vodka and gin. It's so good. It's so good. And she also sent chocolate and she sent some barbecue stuff. And everything was so delicious. I texted her. I was like, thank you. And also, how is this all so delicious? So we're going to have to take a trip to Memphis to
I think so.
experience some of this stuff in person. So anyway, she brought Nacho to Atlanta, where you picked him up.
Where I showed up to pick him up. I magically appeared. Ploof, poof.
It was so complicated.
Like a little leprechaun. Whee!
The plan had been that Ingo was going to arrive from Germany last week. You were indeed in Germany.
I was in Germany. That
Yes.
part of the plan did come true.
And your flight from Germany flew into New York, and then you were going to go hang out at Maryland for a couple days and then drive down and pick up Nacho on the way.
Yeah.
And then I got a cavity. I have one molar that doesn't have a filling.
I mean, you have a full set of teeth. It's just...
I have all the teeth.
You have one molar that doesn't have a filling.
One molar... Well, not anymore.
It's not old Chomper. You don't just have one molar.
Oh, no. No, I have all of them. I don't have any wisdom teeth. I have all the molars. And one of them didn't have a filling. And it started throbbing on Monday last week. And I was like, it's the only one without a filling. I'm sure it's time. And so the dentistry in Key West is not acceptable.
Tell about your experience. You may already have, but it's chilling.
A couple years ago, I thought I had a cavity in one of those back teeth because they were throbbing. It turns out I did not. It was just I was clenching my teeth very hard in my sleep and it was achy. But I thought I had a cavity, so I was like, I'm going to find the best rated dentist in Key West and go in there and get this thing filled if I have to. So I make an appointment. I go in. The staff is lovely. They take my insurance. I sit down. They do the x-rays. And while we're waiting for the x-rays, he's like, once the integrity of a tooth is breached, there's really no point in doing anything about it. It's better to just pull it out. And I'm like...
Is he like from the 1870s?
Oh, my God. Thankfully, I did not have a cavity. And I was like, I'm never coming back here again.
Bite down on this stick.
He seemed very nice.
He's not nice to teeth.
So when my tooth started, and our dentist in Maryland, the dentist is actually in Virginia, amazing.
Amazing. We would drive 45 minutes to see her before.
It's interesting. We have talked about her on the podcast. It's Purple Plum Dentistry.
Yes.
Which matters because when I got the cavity filled, they're like, you have a $50 credit on your account because you referred someone. Because somebody who listened to the podcast went there and was like, oh, yeah, this is how
that could have been your WAMU colleague, though, too.
Oh, it could have been. Anyway, so I talked to Ingo in Germany and I was like, look, I have a cavity. I have to go get this filled. So you are not going to go to Maryland anymore. You're going to fly New York to the Keys, and I am going to fly up to Maryland and get my cavity filled. So Ingo landed from Germany on Thursday and flew Charlotte to Key West. I flew Key West to Miami to D.C. I left the car in the airport at the Key West airport, and Ingo picked it up an hour later.
It was still warm. Didn't we wave to each other in the plane from plane to plane?
Got my cavity filled. It's all better now, thankfully. And then I flew back to the Keys about an hour after you left for Atlanta.
Yes, that's again we waved to each other.
We missed each other again. I had booked you a rental car, one-way rental car in Atlanta to come down here. There were some difficulties with that where it was going to be a few hours.
It was Seinfeldian. Just because you have a reservation doesn't mean you have a car.
So I ended up booking you a different rental, like live, like you called and you're like, it's going to be like 2 hours. And I was like, hang on. Booked you another rental car.
And I was half an hour away from Nacho.
Yeah. So got you another car. You picked up Nacho and then drove him to Orlando where we had already booked the Airbnb, and then Orlando to Key West. So he got home on... Saturday day.
Sunday.
Sunday.
No, I flew up on Saturday.
Yep.
Sunday.
So got home during the day on Saturday. So he had quite an adventure. On Sunday. He had quite an adventure. I got to say, so Teen from the herd bought him a little suitcase.
It is amazing. Suitcase doesn't do it. It's like a kit.
You can get it on, she got it on Chewy. So if you search for like dog travel kit, it's got like collapsible bowls. It has little separate pouches for food.
Yeah.
It is everything you need to take a dog on a trip.
And you don't need anything more. You can put everything in there. It's amazing.
It's got room for food, bowls, a water bottle, all of his medicine fit in there. His records fit in there. Toys fit in there.
Poop bags.
Everything. She outfitted it. It came with, she had like little Operation Nacho Run stickers. She put in a deck of playing cards with like a big potato on a flatbed as the picture on them. I got to say my favorite thing is this tiny little keychain she put on there with this gold potato that says Idaho on it. It is just the cutest damn thing. I love it so much.
We like potatoes anyway, and then the giant potatoes are even better.
And she put together a little like diary with like all the Operation Nacho Run stuff on the front, and everybody who drove him or kept him overnight like wrote a little entry in it.
So nice.
It is just so lovely. So Nacho arrived on Sunday. I would say the consensus opinion of Nacho from everybody who had him, including us, is that he's a little nervous at first. Like he took a while to get him to come out of the car.
Yeah, for like 5 minutes.
A little scared. But he warms up very quickly, which he did here. And, you know, we did the kind of slow introductions where we let out Hops and Vink and then Guac and then Brody and then Remy. Everybody was good. There were no problems, which was great. That's always a big stressor is like, I mean, which we had with Remy, right? He was like humping Brody. There was a ton of tension. It was awful.
Yeah.
No problems this time. which was great. And Gwen Filosa, who we've mentioned on the pod a bunch of times, of the Miami Herald, who covers the Keys, she had seen the Operation Nacho Run stuff during the week and had been tweeting about it. And so she came over, once he had settled in a little, she came over to interview Nacho. He's just running around with the other dogs. We're all outside. And she got footage of him just like standing on the dock and jumping into the water unprompted. Wrote a really lovely piece that you can find at the Miami Herald or Keys News about his journey. She interviewed Teen and I think maybe some other transporters. They put it in the print paper. We were literally on the front page. There was a picture of the squad.
Yeah.
As like a teaser. He was on like page 4 of the front section. He got like a half page.
And this is a
story.
a thinner paper than I thought. This isn't like the New York Times size. This is a, Boston Herald thickness. So having a whole page is a big deal.
Yeah. So it's just charming. You can find it online.
I did buy out 3 stores.
Yeah, you did. I was like, we got to get some print versions of this paper. And you went, where'd you go?
Walgreens, they had none left. CVS had 1. I took it. And then I went to Winn-Dixie, and then I took all the ones they had, which was 3.
So
it's going later in the day. It has its hazards.
Yeah. So 1 is on its way to Teen in Idaho, and then we got 3 more here for whatever we're going to do with them.
Friends and family.
Yeah. So let's talk about Nacho. Nacho Fry is what I'm trying to get stick as his nickname.
It's not working because I revert to like Notch.
Notch is not bad. It's just so close to guac, right? I want them to be able to tell their names apart.
Oh. Sure.
Anyway, he's a very sweet boy. He is 18 months old, and man, can you tell.
He's got puppy energy.
He sure does. He's not bad. And it's hard to tell now because it really takes them a week or 2 to start settling in. And there's just a lot of anxious energy. Like even today, there's a remarkable difference from yesterday in terms of his calmness. But he's a fun boy. He's ball obsessed. We have a no ball rule in the house now.
Don't look at me. I didn't do it.
I was just looking at you for part of the conversation.
He finds balls under things and behind things that we didn't even know were there. Yeah. He's very good at sniffing out stuff.
He's just super cute. So you had him out on the porch. It was like maybe yesterday morning. And he kind of trots into the house. And I said, hi. And he's like, trot, trot, trot. And then he, all 4 feet straight, like slides to a stop, perks his head up, looks to his right, looks to his left, sees me, and then is like, happy face, and trots on over to see me. He's extremely cute.
Yeah, he's very expressive. He's a good-looking dog. He's very, well-proportioned, show dog-ish, I guess.
He's very handsome.
And he looks exactly like Guac in some angles, and a lot like Remy in other angles.
Him and Guac, there's a lot of times I look at him and I have to be like, wait, which one are you again?
Yeah.
So he's doing great. He was crate trained, it seems like. So we have a crate. I actually had logistical maneuver. We have 2 crates in our Maryland house, and we haven't had any here in Florida. And so I had a crate shipped to the Airbnb in Orlando because it was the only way we would get it in time.
I know, I got there, and there's a big box waiting for me.
So he's sleeping in the crate, and then we also leave him in there when we're not home just because we're, not sure if he's trustworthy to not eat anything, because it sounds like he pulled some stuff off the counter.
Well, he knows how to get on the counter, and he's not afraid to jump and extend, right?
Yeah. So, but he's good in the crate, and last night he was really wound up, after dinner time, just running in circles and climbing on everybody, and you could tell it was a lot of anxiety that he was trying to get out. And so we put him in the crate, and he sat there for a minute, and then he laid down and went to sleep. For dogs that are crate trained, it's a real place of security and way to just be okay, I'm safe, everything is fine in here.
Yeah.
And man, did it make a difference with him.
Taking away all the stimulus.
Yeah. Just okay, I'm going to hang out in here, it's fine. So the crate, I'm guessing, will go away in a couple weeks, once he's much calmer and kind of knows the rules and isn't anxious and pacing. But he doesn't care, right? He's happy to go in there. We toss his ball in there, and he just settles in and goes to sleep.
It's not a scary place for him or anything punishy, which certainly is not intended to be.
No, I mean, a crate never should be, right? If you're crate
Right.
training a dog, it should be a place that like they want to go and they feel secure in there, and not a place that you put them to punish them.
That's right. This is like there's a couple awesome toys in here. There's a soft blanket. There might be some treats.
Yep.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's doing great, but we're just a few days in, so he needs more time to settle in, and it's hard to tell like what his true personality is because there's a lot of like anxiety noise
Yeah.
that's in the way, which is always the case.
I mean, he's getting more calm, but with that sometimes comes he gets more comfortable, and then he may do other weird stuff. Yeah.
For sure. So we'll see. Couple weeks to go.
Yeah.
We did take him to the vet on Monday. So he arrived on Sunday. We took him to the vet Monday to just get him fully checked out. He will eventually need a TPLO surgery. That's a cruciate ligament repair on one of his knees. Like we did x-rays and you can see one of the knees.
That's a back leg knee thing.
Yeah. Voods had this surgery last July.
And he wasn't sprinting afterwards either, though. I don't know. They shouldn't give it to like athletes.
I mean, Voods had a whole bunch of other problems. I've had my dog Pie, my previous dog Pie, had tore her ACL and had it repaired, and she was probably 5 or 6 at the time, and she was great. Ran around, didn't have any. Once she healed from it, didn't have any problems.
Yeah, when we heard that was due for Nacho, we were thinking he'd be limping really hard and have a hard time, getting up and down stairs maybe, or
before we got him
pushing. Yeah, just because we heard that, we thought he would have real hard time walking and stuff, but he's quite bouncy.
Yeah, everyone along the drive had been really careful to like not let him jump and run. And so when we had him in at the vet, I was like, so should we be restricting his movement at all? And she's like, nope, like it's fine. It's not an emergency now that we get the surgery. And in fact, she said, like, I want to give him some time to settle in and, see how he is, get him on a joint supplement and everything. Like, it's not a surgery you need to do right now. Because when my dog Pie tore her ACL, she didn't put any weight on the leg at all. So he clearly doesn't have a full tear. Now,
no, because he can support it. Yeah.
Yeah, the gap between his shin bones and his thigh bones is gone on the bad leg. So he absolutely is going to need surgery, but it's not an emergency. And so she's kind of like, if you were never going to get him the surgery, then maybe you would want to try to keep him calm. So like whatever's wrong in there didn't get worse. But since you're definitely going to do the surgery, it's better for him to like stay active and be lean, and be in good shape. So he's been going on walks with me. He does a great job on walks. He loves to swim.
He's learning how to swim.
So I took him swimming yesterday because I was like, I got to get some energy out of this dog. So we're going to swim for about 20 minutes. Just him throwing the ball. So, swim after the ball. He sucks at swimming, by the way.
He doesn't know how.
He clearly hasn't swum before. So he holds his head up real high, and then he does a lot of like sploosh, 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 sploosh with his front legs. He did get better over the...
It's not efficient like the other ones where the head stays at water level.
So we played fetch for about 20 minutes. He had a great time. I brought him in and was getting ready to give everybody dinner.
Wait for it.
Maybe like 15 minutes later. And he's standing on the rug and he gave me a weird look. And then he threw up a little bit of seawater. And then he walked about 5 steps. And then he threw up half a gallon of seawater. And then he walked another 5 steps and threw up perhaps another full gallon of seawater. Like there was a splash. I needed about 5 towels to clean it all up. And then he went on the porch and evacuated some seawater from the other end. And I was like, Ingo, there are 2 tasks that need to happen right now. One person needs to take him out into the front yard to let him finish his evacuation, and one person needs to clean up the porch.
Neither seemed really good, but I did make a choice. I did pick the porch, yes. But there was no winning there.
It's a mess either way. Guac did exactly the same thing when we first got him, would just swallow a ton of seawater. He learned pretty fast.
I know. I think he was drinking it more because he was a good swimmer. He just thought it'd be fun to like let it run into his mouth.
Oh my God. I mean, there were a few times where I remember him like walking down the front stairs and like puking seawater. Like every 3 steps, he'd like step, bleh, step, bleh. But yeah, everybody's fine. So yeah, he's a very sweet boy. You took a nap with him today. He just snugged it up with you in the bed. And
oh yeah, since he can
sleep.
Jump, he's on the bed in no time. He and Guac can get up quickly. The other ones need help, right?
Yep.
No, he's a good boy, and he's We were worried about allergies, right? He had allergies before, and he was all scratching himself a lot.
He was very itchy when he
He
arrived.
was very itchy. They gave him that Cytopoint. He didn't seem to be scratching as much today.
I
so
don't
we'll
think
see.
he scratched at all today.
So it could be local allergies, right? If he's allergic to some tree pollen that they have in Idaho, that's one thing. But they don't have those trees down here, maybe. Who knows?
Yeah, she had said, the vet had said, before we even think about any allergy testing, to just put him on the Cytopoint, which is it's a shot you get once a month. And it blocks the chemicals that make you itchy if you're a dog. And so it could be that like we just put him on the Cytopoint once a month and he's fine and doesn't need to do anything else.
Yeah, that'd be great. A great outcome.
Vink is already on Cytopoint once a month. So it's sort of an expensive shot, but it helps a ton. And if that takes care of his problems, that's great.
Yeah, it's a lot better than scratching and itching.
Yeah, and she had said even if we wanted to do the allergy testing, he needs to be here for a few months before he's like developed the antibodies to whatever he might be allergic to in the keys.
Yeah.
So it doesn't make any sense to do testing now because it won't tell us anything about
He's like
what he's allergic to
sequoias.
here. Great. So yeah, that's the Nacho Man.
The Nacho Man. He's
Nacho Fry.
He's pretty playful, and he's really been hitting it off kind of violently with Remy. He's on the porch right now. That's why things are quiet.
Yep.
He's probably sleeping.
Remy and Nacho are having a really lovely time. They play a bunch. They love each other. They had, they kind of sorted themselves out the first day, calibrated, I would say. There weren't any fights or anything, but just kind of figured out. And they've been great since then. They have a really good time. Yeah,
it's much better than you, Guac, because neither of them want to run after the ball or whatever. Guac has become quite bad at playing with other dogs.
He gets distracted and is like, I'm going to go chew on this other thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, Nacho and Remy really focus on each other. So that's a Nacho update. Everything good so far. We'll probably have a lot more to say next week.
Yep. He's a good boy.
In other dog news, Brody got his stitches out finally from his elbow surgery.
It looks like he's turning a corner.
He had that surgery 3 weeks ago. And then after a week, he had to get new stitches put in because it was infected. Guac. And the stitches were kind of pulling apart. So that seemed to work. He's been on different antibiotics since then. And so he had those stitches in for a full 2 weeks. They took him out on Monday. He's still in the cone because it's not entirely healed yet. This is common with old dogs too, and old people, that it can just take a really long time to heal stuff.
Yeah.
But it's getting there for sure. It's definitely getting better. So hopefully the cone will come off in a week or so.
Yeah, and we're getting the risk of having it off like while he eats or something is a little less too. So we're taking it off sometimes.
He's getting a little time, but he's still like, I had it off earlier today. Yeah. And I heard him like lick at the elbow, and I was like, it's coming back on. It's coming back on. Let's see. People asked for an update on Remy's vision. It's definitely getting better.
Yeah, he did bonk into a post today because he was looking the other way, though. He was looking sideways and walking forwards.
I have a couple pictures that I've taken, like when the sun is starting to go down in the west, it comes in through our porch door windows. And I have some pictures last week where he was standing there, so the light was sliding like directly into his eyes. Yeah. So I've got some really good pictures of his cataracts where you can see how much the one on, I guess, his left, that's the best eye, is a lot smaller. And you can also see where the one on his right is starting to dissolve a little bit.
That's so good. Mm-hmm. But ophthalmologists should have that lighting. Is that what you're saying? They should position their patients that way.
Well, they have an artificial light that replicates that sort of brightness. So
what? Like the sun?
I mean, in a local fashion, yes.
That's crazy. Who invented something like that?
I will add one other Remy update. So he's lately, like when Guac is jumping off the dock, Remy loves to swim after Guac.
Yeah, he's like such a buddy to Guac when they play.
He can't see enough to like fetch by himself, but he wants us to throw the ball for Guac to swim after the ball, and then he follows Guac around with the ball.
He follows the splashes.
And so Guac jumps off the dock, and Remy has, like in the last week, been like putting his front legs over the edge of the dock and his butt up and like hesitating. So today we were out there and Guac was jumping off the dock, chasing the ball. And Remy's like, I'm gonna do it. And he's not doing it. So I just give him a little push on his butt. I'm like, worst case, he like falls into the water and hates it and I won't do it again. And instead what happened is I gave him a tiny push and he pushed off the dock full like spread eagle.
Superman pose.
Into the water, like fully submerged, came back up and then followed Guac around, and then he just kept coming back for it. He's like, okay, do it. And I like tap his little button. He'd push off like full spread eagle, like back legs fully spread out.
It's so funny.
Oh, he was having such a good time. I was like, I don't want to like push him in and traumatize him, right?
And
But
you
I
weren't pushing him. You were just like
give him a little nudge on the butt.
patting him on the butt.
Yeah, like it's okay, go do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he does this on the bed. So when we put him up on the bed, he can't jump off the bed because he can't see it. So he kind of stands at the edge, and then we'll kind of put our arms under him and be like, okay. And then he like leaps kind of up into the air.
It's very startling the first time when you think, I'm just going to carry, and he goes, wing.
Yep, fling. Yeets himself off the bed.
Yeets himself off the bed.
So I gave him a little tap on his butt, and he's like, okay, I'm going. Flinged himself off the dock. Had a great time. He had a great time. Let's see, Hops. So we continue to flush out her spot where her abscess was. They had a drain in there, so there's a little spot at the bottom that's still open, and we have we talked about this last time, a little syringe with like a curved pointy tip, and we inject chlorhexidine up into the thing, and it comes right back out of the hole, but it's kind of rinsing out where the abscess was. It continues to get smaller. So hopefully in the next week or two, that will be pretty much closed up, and she'll be through with all of her MRSA stuff, and she'll be able to start swimming again and paddleboarding. We did let her go in the water when Nacho arrived, and then we gave her a thorough bath and flushed out her thing and everything.
Seems to have been good. You're so good at this home medical care stuff. Like, that's kind of your jam, but you're also so good at it.
Thank you.
Teeth cleaning occasionally and clipping and brushing and everything.
Cutting out knots.
That's like the least of it, yeah. But also flushing and wiping and cleaning and all the stuff. I mean, I think these were your own stitches that you took out once, but
I've taken my own stitches out a bunch of times. Yeah.
But you'd take the dog's ones out if
I have taken out lots of dog stitches.
Yeah.
Yep. All right. We have nothing under ramblings, but when we're done with this podcast, we're going to record the Patreon/super followers only bonus pod, which has a lot of rambling content in it.
If I don't take a nap first.
No napping.
Okay.
Podcasting.
Okay.
That said, we have Taste of the Keys and German Word of the Week.
Okay.
Which do you want to do first?
I'll do German word. I'm not doing Taste of the Keys.
Do it.
The German word of the week is querfeldein.
What does that mean?
Off the path. Walking off the path,
like
without
off
a path.
the beaten path?
Kind of off the beaten path, but more literal, like it literally means diagonally into the field.
Oh.
So if there's a field with a path, that goes around the edges, you leave the path and go, cut across the field. That's querfeldein. Yeah.
Is that the context? Would you use it in the literal context? Or is it used figuratively?
It's used figuratively. That's what it evokes with me, but it's used as a off road, off track.
Yeah.
Not
like a restaurant?
Not just off the beaten path. No, it's a way of describing your progress.
Oh.
So you leave the road and you go querfeldein. Like you've left the path, you've left the road, and you're going cross country, I guess is probably one way of saying it.
Yeah.
But
interesting.
Yeah, querfeldein.
Querfeldein.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Taste of the Keys this week. Medicare fraud suspect.
Besides Nacho.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, he would normally be our story because he was in the Miami Herald.
We are us. We are our story.
We talked about that, though. So, Medicare fraud suspect caught trying to flee for Cuba on jet ski, feds say. A Hialeah man was found floating on a broken-down personal watercraft Wednesday, June 8th, in the ocean south of Key West. The man, Ernesto Cruz Graveron, is accused of fraudulently billing Medicare for more than $4 million.
$4 million
between January and February.
Goodness gracious!
In 2 months, $4 million.
How sick was he? Jeez.
Agents say he was attempting to flee to Cuba to avoid prosecution.
Oh, my goodness.
Last week, U.S. Coast Guard crews and agents with Customs and Border Protection's Air and Marine Operations found 2 men on a disabled personal watercraft floating in the ocean south of Key West. Feds say that with a special fuel cell on board and compartments stuffed with bottled water and food, the vessel was embarked on a long journey to Cuba before it broke down.
But sure
90 miles is how they're going. One man on the personal watercraft, a type of vessel mistakenly called a jet ski based on the name of the model made by Kawasaki.
What now? What?
There's somebody in here who's like, actually, a jet ski is this thing, and the thing that they were on, even though people call it a jet ski, is not a jet ski.
Oh, it's not a Kleenex unless it's Johnson & Johnson.
Oh.
Come on.
All right, so one dude on the jet ski
It's a jet ski.
is known as a human smuggler. The other man, 54-year-old...
Wait, he's a human smuggler. I'm a human, too.
The other man, 54-year-old Ernesto Cruz Graveron, is accused of fraudulently billing Medicare more than $4 million between, here it says January and April, according to federal records.
Wow.
Yep.
That's a big fraud.
There's some stuff. All right. Based on the foregoing, I believe it is probable that Cruz Garavon was in fact fleeing to Cuba aboard the jet ski to evade prosecution. Homeland Security Investigations Agent Carlos Suarez wrote in a June 9th probable cause complaint. The other man was not named in the complaint. That's the human smuggler. U.S. Magistrate Judge Alicia Otazo Reyes on Monday ordered Cruz Graveron held in federal detention center in Miami without bond.
Federal jail.
Federal public defenders did not respond to an emailed request for comment on the case. Cruz Graveron is president of Zyco. I think it's Zyco. It's Xiko. Zyco Enterprise, Inc., a Hialeah company that provides durable medical equipment, things like bandages, dressings, wheelchairs, and prosthetic devices. According to the complaint, Cruz Graveron billed Medicare $4.2 million on behalf of unknowing patients who never received these services. Medicare paid him $2.1 million, according to the complaint. The complaint also states that one physician, who's not named, prescribed medical equipment from Zyco to 145 patients, for which Cruz Graveron billed Medicare more than $1 million. Federal agents interviewed Cruz Graveron on May 20th after they discovered he bought a ticket for a plane headed from Miami to Havana. According to the complaint, he waived his rights to remain silent and speak to an attorney, and he said he was paid, quote, by an associate to put his name on Zyco corporate records. He told agents he had drawn numerous checks from Zyco's corporate bank account at the behest of the same associate and ended up cashing between $60,000 and $90,000. Cruz Graveron then agreed to cooperate with agents in their investigation, and they seized his passport. However, 8 days later, he was caught attempting the 90-mile journey from Key West to Cuba, agents say.
Oh, so it's his second attempt to flee to Cuba. The first one was by plane. That would have made more sense.
I believe he's a Cuban citizen. I don't know that I read that in here, but yeah.
But they took his American. Well, who knows?
Whatever passport he had, they took it, and he's like, I'm just going to jet ski 90 miles to Cuba.
We don't need no passport to jet ski.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. It's not all smooth sailing. That's the ocean.
Ooh, it is a treacherous passing.
It is not, as easy as Mr. Cruz may have thought.
I mean, there have been a lot of migrants from Cuba coming in. Almost every day there's migrants from Cuba that either land in the Keys or get caught slightly off the Keys by the Coast Guard and sent back.
Right.
And, man, I mean, we've talked about this before. Like, I'm full in favor of, like, let them come over here. Like, obviously, like, check them out. And if there's, like, a murderer, rapist, like, send them back to Cuba. But, like, these people are crossing in, like, barrels strapped together with duct tape and like a tarp, and they don't always make it.
Right, exactly.
And you're gonna get on a fucking jet ski and go back the other way? Like, what a fucking asshole.
This is good use of our border patrol. Like, keep this guy in jail.
Yeah, that's right. So he was sent to jail.
Good. Federal jail.
They're like, we're arguing that he's a flight risk, and it's like, I mean, he literally was on a jet ski going to Cuba. He sucks at it, but
he sucks at it.
Anyway, that's everything I have for this week.
Yep, that sounds good.
All right.
Do you want me to have some more dog updates? Because it's just how awesome everyone is.
Nope.
Okay, well, they're awesome.
All right, everyone. Until next week, Slava Ukraini, and don't bite anyone unless they ask you to.
Yeah, don't do that.
Bye.
Bye.